Well, it's that time again. We go out to the other coast of the United States for what is a rather futile edition of looking at the movie reviews with Michael Snyder, because there aren't any movie theaters open. So we'll find out how you can stay at home and see some of the latest releases. Hello, Michael.
Hey, hi, Alex, and I hope everybody is staying safe out there. I'm doing my best to do the same, and insofar as I'm in the house, I'm reliant on streaming, and movies that opened earlier in the year are getting released in streaming every week, and this current weekend is no different. Bad Boys for Life, I wasn't crazy about it. The latest in the series with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence is a couple of buddy cops in Atlanta. If you like that kind of thing. The Current War, sort of an interesting movie about the turn-of-the-century battle for control of America's electrical system. Edison versus Westinghouse with Tesla caught in the middle.
That's been out. Wait a minute. That's been out for almost at least a half a year.
It's only been available on video as of March 31st.
Oh. Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog now available if you like that sort of thing. I didn't.
Let's warn people though. When you say it's available if you want to spend $20.
Well, however you want to spend your money in terms of catching a movie, whether you used to be able to spend $20 at the movie theater, and now I guess you've got to do it at home if you want to see these films. And I did catch up to the way back, which I didn't see when they originally released it because of a screening conflict. Ben Affleck plays an alcoholic former high school basketball star, pulled back in by his alma mater to coach a bunch of ragtag kids. And actually, it was pretty good for what it is. And Affleck gave a solid performance. And our old pal from San Francisco, Al Madrigal, plays his assistant coach and does a wonderful job as well. The director, Gavin O'Connor, did Warrior and Pride and Glory and Miracle, and this is okay. But there are movies that are getting their debuts online, and some of them maybe would have been online anyway. Some of them might have been in the theater. I'm going to go through a few of them I caught recently that I thought were worth talking about. Vivarium is simultaneously kind of nifty and depressing. It mixes sci-fi and horror and absurdist themes in this very mundane setting. An as yet unpopulated suburban housing development where all the homes appear identical. And this is where a real estate agent takes a young couple who have decided to finally get a home of their own. Tom and Gemma, played by Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, are not particularly interested in the prefab cookie-cutter house they're shown, but when they try to drive back to the city, they can't find a way out of the development. Paging John Paul Sartre, the guy, the playwright who wrote No Exit. Anyway, so Vivarium is a nightmare scenario, especially now when all of us are stuck in our own neighborhoods. It's probably not, okay.
Wait a minute. Where can we find this?
It's online. You can catch it online in a variety of different locations.
I look at all the places where you can get these just released movies, and I have seen that nowhere.
Well, Vivarium is out there. It's sort of like X-Files. The truth is out there.
Well, I mean, no, but you're not giving us an exact place we can go to get it.
Well, I would suggest it's on disc and on streaming somewhere out there. You could probably just check. No.
But that doesn't help our people. Maybe you know how to go to illicit sources to find it.
No,
but the point is that when I go to Amazon, there is a whole list of the movies that are theater films. I mean,
that's Amazon. Run a search.
I've gone to Netflix. It's not there.
Jesse Eisenberg, by the way, also recently starring in Resistance as Marcel Marceau, a pretty good war thing, and that's also out there if you go to the right places. I'm not talking about illicit streaming. I'm not.
No, but what I'm saying is this film I have seen nowhere, and I've looked at Amazon. I've looked at, what's the other one that's carrying Apple TV is carrying all the theater films, and it's nowhere.
Well, I suggest you get out there and look again.
Well, what I'm saying is that
It's
if our people have to go on an Easter egg hunt to go find a movie, then it's not
Hey,
worth telling them about.
Bennett, they have the time. We all have the time. Moving on.
No. You're making look. I'm trying to make this practical for our audience. Okay.
Sure.
And you should limit yourself to things which are easily available on either Amazon or Apple TV. I think there was one other place that was carrying it. Yeah, my TV set is actually carrying a lot of those movies too. The streaming service for LG. So
I would suggest to you that it might be on DirecTV. It might be on a service you don't have, but it is out there.
Well, I mean,
promise.
this is very frustrating for most people.
Well, I know it's frustrating for everyone, but moving on, Swallow is a pretty cool character study. It's a remarkable and fine-tuned performance by Haley Bennett, who has been sort of MIA for the past couple of years, a young actress, and she's very good in this very, very disturbing desperate housewife drama with a medical twist. The young heroine is the pretty and recently married wife of a handsome up-and-coming businessman, and she seems to have it all in her expensive new house, and there's nothing for her in this proverbial Mingline prison but to cook, clean, and wait for hubby to come home so she can, I guess, potentially procreate. So privately, she starts compulsively swallowing things. This is a disorder called pica, which I wasn't very familiar with, and it sounds like, I don't know, the clarion call to a Pokemon hunt, but pica is no fun. And then again, you won't find me trying to catch them all, not my thing. But despite the bizarre subject, Swallow is a smart and compelling piece of feminist filmmaking, even if you might be constantly shuddering and thinking, what is she going to swallow next? And I guess that's part of the tension. Mm-hmm. But again, Haley Bennett, very good in this. Written and directed by Carlo Mirabella Davis, Swallow.
And again, my question is, where can we find it?
I don't have the specifics, but these movies were released for streaming this week. I promise you that. Okay, Blow the Man Down is a cool noirish crime comedy set by the chilly waters of the Atlantic in a small fishing village called Easter Cove. It's there on the rocky Maine coast, and there we encounter two sisters burying their mother and apparently in line to take on the family store. And one of the sisters seems resigned to this dreary life in the town, and the other just wants out. And the latter girl gets hammered at the local bar after the funeral and wake are done, and a sleazy guy hits on her. An incident occurs, and then a cover-up ensues that starts to reveal the dark secrets of the town as the sisters turn to their mother's friends. Or are these people frenemies? I mean, a group of women who know the score. The older gals are played by a very sprightly bunch, including June Squibb from the Jack and Triumph show. Annette O'Toole, yes, yikes, she plays an elderly woman. Time is really flying. And the ever-awesome Margot Martindale, who plays the money-hungry madam running the town's brothel. This is written and directed by the team of Danielle Cruddy and Bridget Savage Cole. Blow the Man Down is sneaky funny. It's a treat that is kind of ideal to while away a weekend evening. And again, it's out there. It's an Amazon movie. How about that, Bennett? Very, very simple. Go to Amazon, Alex, and you'll find Blow the Man Down. Finally, I want to mention Banana Split. Very funny, fun, sweet, and kind of an up-to-date teen comedy set in L.A., and mostly during that summer between senior year in high school and freshman year in college. It's not raunchy in the least, despite the characters' frank speech and legitimate fooling around. And despite what you'd suspect, it feels fresh. I mean, rather than some typical losing your virginity plot, it's most concerned with the platonic friendship that organically develops between two girls, April and Clara. And the twist is that Clara is a newcomer to town, and she's dating April's high school sweetheart, Nick. And by the way, Clara is also the cousin of Nick's best buddy, Ben, who gets caught up in keeping the girls' friendship a secret from Nick. And the dialogue rings true, and it's delivered with kind of a natural ease that lends legitimacy to this whole thing. And the four young actors in the main roles are uniformly great. Particularly Hannah Marks, the girl who plays April. She actually co-wrote the script. She's been working as an actress in a bunch of TV and film roles and has written and directed at least one indie feature before. I mean, I didn't see that movie, but this script it's sharp, it's charming. Kudos to her. I really enjoyed Banana Split. And man, I'm not the target audience, I don't think, but it's also out there as well.
Vivarium is available. The only way it's available is through through a Netflix and a Netflix company called DVD.com, which has become their DVD mailing a DVD to you at home. It's the only reference I've seen anywhere to being able to lay your hands on it.
It's vertical entertainment. I don't know where they're dropping it, but I assume it's listed as being available on disc and streaming right now.
Well,
yeah. So anyway, look,
Yeah.
that's what I've got. Hey, did you see The Banker, by the way, which is an Apple TV movie?
Yep, I did.
And what did you think?
Not very good.
It's one of those docudramas about these two black businessmen in L.A. who kind of become very, very wealthy and powerful in the 1960s. And it stars a good pair of actors, Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson. But it is basically run-of-the-mill docudrama stuff, I would say.
Yeah. I watched all of The Expanse, which you urged me to do. Yeah.
It's the best hard sci-fi on TV, I think.
Well, it's very good. The first two seasons are a slog.
Yeah, that's fair. They go slower, and you're getting to know the characters.
Yeah, and it's not as well done, and it's not as well thought out. And then by the time you get to the third season, episode 6 is just an absolute triumph. And then you get to the next season, and it's good. It's very good, but it's a little slicker than the other versions. This was the Amazon-produced year.
More money?
More money, and it just seems like it didn't have that kind of like dark look to it that the others had, But it's a very good show, and I went through all 46 episodes. But then again, what else do I have to do with my miserable, boring life here at home?
Hey, come on, we're all in the same boat. I wanted to tell people that, they are not alone. We're all out here, and there are things to do and things to watch online here and there.
Marjorie was watching. What'd you watch, Marjorie? What was it?
Unorthodox and then Halifax.
Caliphate, both on Netflix. She seemed to really like what Caliphate you really like, and you liked Orthodox too?
Well, it was different.
Yeah. So those are a couple of things you can do. And as for anything else, Better Call Saul, of course. It's kind of getting to it.
Liar, after a long break, Liar Season 2 is back with Joanne Froggatt as the woman who tries to bust the guy who raped her in the first season, and there's fallout, and it starts, I think, this coming week. And, there's one other show I want to bring to people's attention, Belgravia. If you like things like Downton Abbey, this is by Julian Fellows, the creator and writer of Downton Abbey, and it's set in the, I guess, the mid-1800s or a little later after ultimately after the Napoleon defeat at Waterloo. And it's snooty rich people and business people in London's Belgravia section, and pretty cool stuff for those who like that kind of soap opera.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. There are a couple of other things that I've been, laying my hands on. They're trying their best now to get a lot of stuff onto the TV because that's where people are going to be watching.
Yeah.
But there's only some, and Marjorie wanted me to remind you, the Devs is a must watch.
Devs is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's by the guy who did Ex Machina, so he's got a real interest in AI and that sort of thing. And Nick Offerman is pretty wonderful. Good call, Marjorie.
Yeah. No, it's a very good show. So there is stuff to watch. But let me just ask you about your future job as a reviewer. I claim, and I believe, this is the end of the movie theater for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is something that the distributors for years, the film companies, been wanting to do, was to do a day and date with the theaters, and they could never do it because the theaters were just holding them off and complaining and going, "We won't carry your stuff if you do it." And now they've been forced to do it in order to get their product out there. I think after this is all over, they're going to say, "We're not going to stop doing this." And the movie theaters are going to suffer because I think people are getting used to not going to the movie theater. They're used to sitting there with their big 65-inch screen at home, watching films here at home. And I think the movie theaters' days now are numbered because I think once this is over, the business will not rejuvenate itself. And that, therefore, we have no need for reviewers.
How well you'll need reviewers to tell you what to watch. Still, much as I'm bringing up these things that are debuting online, and they are. My point on all this is that they'll just have us watch these things on our laptops on streaming links to do the reviews beforehand. Look, you know what? The machine isn't going to stop, but I think you might be right. I think public gatherings right now, this is not the first pandemic we're going to be up against, I don't think. I think things are going to continue to mutate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it sounds like a sci-fi movie, but there are going to be diseases that sweep the globe, and as a result, listen, I think when this is all over, people are going to be reluctant to hug. You're going to have a,
it's going to unalterably change the way in which we do business. And I think the movie theaters are doomed just because people are seeing how really ridiculous it is to go to a movie theater and spend $80 to see a movie, which is what it truly costs after you pay for the tickets and you get the popcorn and the transportation to and from, and that they can sit in their home and even for $20 watch a film that would have been in the theaters. So I think.
Now, I was going to say, now that $20 sounds like a bargain, doesn't it?
Well, it is. The reason they're charging the $20 is because if you've got a wife and 2 kids and there are 4 people going to watch the movie, that's actually a cheap price compared to what you would have paid in the theater. So I mean, it's all that is going to change definitely, and there are a lot of other things that are going to change. People are suddenly going to realize what they can live without and what they can replace it with, and that's
toilet paper.
Toilet paper, yeah. The big commodity in America now, toilet paper.
I'll tell you what I never dreamt. I never dreamt how delicious a frozen wild-caught salmon meal could be when you had no alternative.
Exactly. Well, let me play the theme here. Tell them where they can find you.
I'm still out here kicking. You can check me out on Twitter at Culture Blaster and at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, where Alex and I have our little conversations for all eternity.
Okay. And thank you very much, Michael. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, probably.
Sounds good.
Anyway, that's Michael Snyder, and there's more GABNet coming right up.